Hi, Phil, and we're live at the 2019 EW Comic-Con Video Studio, presented by Toyota Corolla, with the cast of The Witcher. You guys are just getting started on your Comic-Con, but obviously in terms of fandoms, I mean, there's nothing bigger than San Diego. What are you guys most excited for this weekend?
I want to see some crazy costumes.
This
Yeah, we've already seen someone dressed as Elenco and Geralt.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I'm sure you'll see like 1,000 more before. Yeah. This is really like, in terms of shows, like this is your group of people. Like the Comic-Con people are the Witcher fans who are probably going to be the most excited. But I do want to start, I'll start actually with Lauren. Obviously, like, how long were these books on your radar? How long had this been a thought of like, oh, I would love to create this one day?
I mean, I've been working on this now for a little over 2 years.
Okay.
So by the time it rolls out, I think it will have been, 28 months or something that I would have been on the project. So I read The Last Wish, which was the first book of short stories, and they're amazing. And I fell in love with them. But I never thought that I would be the person to actually turn it into a series. But here I am.
You did it.
Yeah.
Because you guys have fully shot it. You've wrapped it. What was where did you shoot?
Budapest.
Oh, wow. So you that's way cooler than like Vancouver. No offense to Vancouver. But that's a legit production.
Vancouver's pretty cool. Right?
We're pro Vancouver here,
Right.
too.
Love it. It's great. No, but for you three, what was your Witcher knowledge going into this? Were you aware of the books, of the game? Was this all brand new to you?
It was totally brand
new?
Yeah. But I remember before my last audition, I went into the bookshop and I picked up one of the books and just started reading a little bit about Ciri. And then when I got the part, I read Blood of Elves like in 2 days. I was so excited. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Henry?
I'm a big gamer, and so I played the games a lot. And then when I heard that the show was becoming a thing, it was a bit like an opportunity dream come true. And I heard that we were adapting the books instead of the games. And so I went out and bought the books and read them all back to back very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's my experience. So it's very personal to me.
Yeah. Really?
Like Freya, I didn't know of the novels or the game. And so when I went in for the audition, I think that was really lovely actually to approach that in, not knowing.
Yeah.
And obviously after getting the part, that's when I read and couldn't stop reading, and got very invested.
Have you guys learned at this point how to like succinctly sum up the complicated worlds of The Witcher?
No.
Give us 30 minutes. I was about to say, like, can anyone do it in like a sentence?
No.
But I mean, for you, Lauren, what was like the casting of these three like? Did you have anyone in mind when you were writing it?
Well, interestingly, each of their casting stories is a little bit different, but I met with Henry very early on, way before I had a script or anything.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't take no for an answer. I was like, I know, I want that meeting.
Right.
And I was like, dude, I don't even have anything for you to read yet. I need to do it. So we met a lot of Geralts in the process, but funny enough, when we eventually ended up hiring Henry, I told him that I had his voice in my head the whole time I was writing Geralt, which really sort of, that's how you know that you found the right person. We read everyone we could read. And same with Anya and with Freya. Both of them, we read so many women. But when we were in the rooms with them on the day, you just know when you found the person. And it's like, and here we are. And especially the chemistry between these three is amazing. And obviously anyone who's familiar with the stories knows it takes a little while for them to get together.
Right.
But you are rooting for it from the very beginning because you want to see them all on screen together.
Sure. I mean, obviously these are characters that exist in books. They exist in games. For the actors, when you're coming to a character like that, like, was there something you all wanted to bring to your version of these characters that was a little different, maybe, than what people have seen before?
That's a good question. I don't think I deliberately went out to bring anything different to Geralt, because I'm a purist. Like, I love the books, I love the games, and I wanted to do faith to everything that I believed in, which everyone else believes in. And so it wasn't necessarily about putting my own spin on it. It was about just doing justice to the material.
Sure. Yeah. What about you guys?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel I drew a lot from the source material. But obviously everything that I've given the character has been because I've had a very different upbringing and project my experiences and feelings and the way I empathise into that character. Yeah, but the script was my Bible. That's what I work from.
Sure. What about you? Feel the same?
Yeah, I definitely didn't approach it thinking, how am I going to make this unique or different from what people have seen before? I just wanted to make sure that I used the script to make sure that, I gave the most truthful performance I could.
Yeah. And Lauren, I've seen you talk about, because there is a video game, like the visual representation of this story is something. Like, how many conversations went into like just the look of the show?
How much time do you have? I mean, thousands of conversations, obviously. I mean, one of the most exciting things about adapting books is that when you read a book, you come up with the image of the character in your own brain. And obviously then the video games are adaptations of the book, and they go one direction with the characters. Just like these guys are saying, I just really went back to the source material. I sort of paid attention to what Andrew had said when he was writing the books, what he left out, what we could have fun with. But also, I think that there's so much more to casting, obviously, than finding someone who looks like the character that you have in your brain. Yeah. Each of our cast members brings something really special to the character and brings the spirit of the character and the tone of the character. And that's as important to me as the color of their hair or their eyes. It really is. So, but colors of hairs and eyes are also accurate.
What are you saying about my hair?
Yeah, I love your hair. Henry knows that we are all so used to seeing him in the with the white hair and the yellow eyes that sometimes when we see him like this, we're like, oh,
who's that guy?
Who are you? Why are you here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of visuals, you guys just very recently put out, photos. What has the fan reaction been? Like, the show's not even out yet, but what has your experience been with this fandom thus far?
Yeah, it's been crazy. I wouldn't. My goodness, we've had an amazing response. I mean, that's what we do it for the fans.
Yeah, for the fans.
Yeah.
It's been fun. It's been really fun. As I say, obviously very close to my heart. So when the photos coming out, I was like, okay, does everyone like it?
Yeah.
And it was. I'm really happy. I'm really happy with how everyone's responding. There's always going to be some hesitation because, as Lauren was saying, people have their own personalized image from the books, or they have their image from the games.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that so far there's either hesitation or positivity.
Sure.
And that's all I'm expecting. Well, that's the best I could hope for right now.
Right.
So I'm good.
Yeah. So far, so good.
Yeah.
But Lauren, in writing this, obviously you're trying to stay so true to these characters that people love, but also I would imagine trying to think of like bringing in new fans for people who have never seen The Witcher. Was it a difficult balance for you of like, or is it just so rich anyone can come to it and kind of get into the world, you feel like?
I do think that anyone can come to it and get into the world. I mean, I think one of the best things about fantasy is you should be able to be dropped in and sort of exist in that world yourself.
Sure.
In terms of sort of the books are really rich. There's a lot of words. There's a lot to come through.
Sure.
But I do feel like we've sort of brought out the best that we can.
Yeah. I mean, for someone who does not know anything about this, wants to come through and watch the pilot, like, what do you guys kind of tell them like to expect from the series?
I think it's a fantasy series which uses all the regular fantasy tropes. Gnomes, elves, dwarves, monsters, heroes. But what makes this really interesting is that it's not just heroes. There are no real heroes. Everyone is a hero in their own story, but that person who may have their own story and they're a hero in their story, everyone else may see as someone who's quite the opposite, as a villain.
Sure.
And it really dives deeply into very real-world issues that we all experience, whether it be racism, social injustice, the nature of politics and how they affect our world dramatically on a daily basis. Yeah. And it's all of the fantasy stuff and more. All the fantasy stuff, but with very, very recognizable themes.
Yeah.
I think it's broadened past the genre. People can watch it even if they're not necessarily fantasy fans, because there's so many relatable themes and things you can, parallel too
Yeah.
in everyday life. So I think it can be for everyone, not just fantasy fans as well.
Yeah, I've also found that a lot of times I feel like fantasy shows can tackle those like real issues in kind of almost a better way, just because they have that fantastical element. So it feels like it allows you to like hit these issues while still creating like you're not really hitting the issues, but you are.
There's monsters too,
Right.
That's what's fun. Is like if the politics get too heavy in a moment, you're like, oh, but there's some great monsters too.
Yeah, I feel like that's The Witcher. There's monsters too. Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you guys for coming through.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And stay tuned to EW for all your Comic-Con coverage.